Yeah, unfortunately, the Ioniq 5N can mimic that sound, but nothing's gonna match the real sound of the N exhaust during launch control. So hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that introduction. I know I sure did. And unfortunately, we won't get that noise from the Ioniq 5, but hopefully Hyundai does a good job of trying to mimic as best as possible the launch control as well as the overall exhaust sound from their gasoline-powered and performance vehicles. But anyways, today I have some exciting news, as you guys had probably guessed by the title of this video, and that is the pricing, the range, as well as the availability of the upcoming 2025 Ioniq 5N. And I don't want to waste any more time, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the Ioniq 5N came in right around the exact pricing that I was guessing. I was thinking north of $65,000, including destination, and that is exactly what it's priced at. So the MSRP, including the $1,375 destination charge, is going to be $67,475. It's going to be available in 5 exterior colors. However, one is going to be late availability starting with June 2024 production. So the 5 exterior colors are going to be Abyss Black, Atlas White, Soultronic Orange, Performance Blue Matte, as well as Ecotronic Gray Matte, and that is going to be the late availability color. Now, 3 of those actually are going to be extra cost MSRP colors. So Atlas White is going to be $470. Performance Blue Matte as well as the Ecotronic Gray Matte are both going to be $1,000 extra cost on top of that $67,000 MSRP. So potentially with all of the available accessories on some of these Ioniq 5s, I would not be surprised to see a few of them out there in these extra cost paint colors exceed the $69,000 price point. And there are actually some out there, which we'll touch on here in a second. Now, another thing you guys are probably wondering is the extra range, or potentially the extra range over that of the EV6 GT, which has a roughly 205-mile EPA estimated range. Well, the good news is the Ioniq 5N, with its larger 84 kilowatt-hour battery pack over the standard eGMP cars, achieves an EPA estimated range of 221 miles. Now, again, this falls in line with what one would expect with the slightly extra capacity over that of the Kia EV6 GT, but isn't that much more than that vehicle, likely due to the additional aerodynamic deficiencies or extra drag on the Ioniq 5N, given its track capabilities and everything like that. So nice to see that they did well exceed 200 miles of EPA estimated range here with the Ioniq 5N, but of course it would always be nice to see, 250, 275, even 300 plus would be very nice. Now, finally, the last piece of key information that most of you guys probably out there are wondering is, when are these cars going to be available? Well, they'll actually be available starting later this month. Yes, I said that correctly. Hyundai has stated these will be available in March 2023, and as a 2025 model year vehicle, will be the first 2025 model year not only to have already entered production over the last several months, but of course be available at local dealerships. And in terms of availability, these will be only available in select quantities in select states and possibly at select dealerships. We don't know the full availability of how many they plan to sell here in the United States or North America in general, but I would say it is going to be a fairly limited production vehicle. And in terms of this point in time, as I'm filming this video, within a 500-mile radius of me standing here, there is roughly 39 of these cars out there. Now, you might be wondering in terms of the overall color split. Well, obviously Ecotronic Gray Matte is not going to be available until June 2024 production, which you likely won't see 4 to 6 weeks after that date. But it's actually a fairly even color split out of those 39 vehicles within a 500-mile radius here. So I think there's, 6, 7 white. Of course, there's like 10 black. There's a good amount of orange and a good amount of the Performance Blue Matte cars out there. And some of these are actually located at the ports here within the United States, and other ones are still in transit out at sea on the vessels in which they're traveling from Korea, because as we know, the Ioniq 5N unfortunately is still built overseas, which makes it ineligible for the federal tax rebate. Now, speaking of that and the overall pricing, it will be interesting to see if Hyundai rolls out any type of incentive. I highly doubt that, because this is a limited quantity vehicle, going to be harder to get. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but we'll probably be facing dealership markups on these limited quantity vehicles, especially at launch, because again, they are going to be a little bit harder to come by, even though again, the price point is up there, you know, near that $70,000 mark. And I'm not exactly sure how many people out there are going to be willing to pay that price, but do keep that in mind, is that you're probably going to be paying a dealer markup. Hopefully you'll be paying MSRP. And that is if you're able to secure one, either with a deposit or just once it shows up at a dealership. So they're definitely out there. Check with your local dealership if you're interested in the Ioniq 5N. I'm sure availability will improve very, very quickly as they get these into production, but it's still not going to be a mass market vehicle like the standard Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6, or of course any of other Hyundai's product lineup. And as you can see sitting behind me, of course, I have the Kona N, which was only a 2 model year vehicle. Hopefully the Ioniq 5N is much more than 2 model years, but again, that'll probably be determined by demand and overall profitability on Hyundai's side as to whether or not it is a sustainable vehicle. And heck, I would like to see a cheaper electric N vehicle come out, the size of, you know, the current Kona, if you will. I think in the $30,000 to $40,000 price range, that would be an absolute hit. But of course, that is going to be the same price as their current gasoline-powered offerings, including the Elantra. So that's basically it as far as the breaking news, as far as today's press release for the 2025 Ioniq 5N. Now, going through some of the other stats very quickly, if you're a little bit unfamiliar with the Ioniq 5N, it's going to produce 601 horsepower and 641 horsepower with the N boost functionality, which is about a 10-second boost, much like the NGS button in the gasoline-powered N vehicles. So this translates into a 166 kilowatt front motor, 282 kilowatt rear motor, for a total output of 448 kilowatts, or right around 601 horsepower, like I mentioned, with the potential boost capability of up to 478 kilowatts combined, or 641 horsepower. Of course, most of that power is going to be going through the rear motor, which is by far the largest of the two motors. 0 to 60 is going to be right around 3.25 seconds with that boost functionality enabled, as well as the N launch control. Battery capacity, I already mentioned, is 84 kilowatt hours, which is right around 7 kilowatt hours greater than that of the outgoing eGMP cars. And also on that note, Hyundai is increasing the standard battery size for all 2025 Ioniq 5s, to my knowledge, to this 84 kilowatt hour battery pack, which should give you a substantial increase in overall range on the regular Ioniqs, given they are just going to be much more efficient versus the N variant, which not only has aerodynamic drag, but also has the large wheels and tires. They're going to be summer tires, which generally aren't low rolling resistance tires. So a lot of handicaps in that regard for the N variant. So I expect to see a greater boost in overall range on the standard Ioniq versions versus the N version, which only has about a, what would that be, about a 16-mile increase over the Kia EV6 GT. But anyways, it's still going to charge in 10 to 80% in as little as 18 minutes on a, 350 kilowatt DC fast charger under ideal conditions. And that is likely due to the fact that the charging curve is going to be better here in the Ioniq 5N due to better thermal management and battery cooling or preconditioning, if you will. So great to see that Hyundai increased the battery size, but kept the 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. I think that is a big selling point for eGMP vehicles, and glad to see that they were able to maintain that. Now, a couple other notable aspects about the Ioniq 5N that I was surprised to see in this press release today, which are actually very good things, is the fact that the 6-way N Performance bucket seats that this vehicle gets, as well as the current Elantra N, if you will, are going to be heated and ventilated. So it's going to have heated and ventilated front seats, which is great to see. Of course, the heated steering wheel is still going to be found there. The Ioniq 5N gains the rear windshield wiper, which I think every 2025 Ioniq 5 will also get moving forward, as we've seen out of Korea with the refresh pictures and model. It has the better thermal management, like I mentioned, for the battery system and cooling system. It does get the CCNC 12.3-inch infotainment system with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard equipment. Of course, you have vehicle to load is present, but only via the external charge port door, so you have to use the Hyundai adapter. It is not appearing to be available on the inside of the vehicle with the 120-volt outlet beneath the rear seat, so that is an important note or difference over the standard Ioniq 5 Limited. It's getting things like Digital Key 2.0 Premium, which enables iOS or Apple compatible devices. It has parking sensors, front, side, rear, so that is much like the Ioniq 6 gained that. Those updates are coming here to the Ioniq 5. We have the Advanced Rear Occupant Alert, which is the radar type interior motion sensor. So when the vehicle is shut off, essentially it will detect motion inside of the vehicle and alert you via the BlueLink app or sound the horn and lights. But that is pretty much going to be it. I'll go ahead and leave the press release and other information down in the comment section below if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. This is a huge announcement. I've been waiting for it, kind of monitoring inventory levels. I saw that these were actually making it into the United States, into ports over the last couple weeks. But of course, Hyundai now finally has released the exact pricing information and other specifications for this trim level. So make sure to check the links down in the description below if you guys are curious about more information for the Ioniq 5N. They definitely made body and white changes to this vehicle over the standard Ioniq 5 just to make it that much more performance oriented, and should be one of the most affordable high performance electric vehicles currently on the market. They are touting, you know, some huge advantages over what is currently offered, and I have no doubt that is going to be the case, as this is really a you know, track enthusiast type of vehicle, much like that of the Kona N that's sitting behind me. I thought that was going to be a good prop for you guys to make this video. Nothing like seeing the Kona N in the background. Of course, that was probably the lowest volume N vehicle sold in the United States given its limited run, but you know, maybe not the best overall, you know, platform or body style that people wanted. I personally would have rather had the Ioniq, the i30N, excuse me, here, but unfortunately that was not brought here to the United States. So make sure you guys go down in the description, read the full press release. It's well worth it. Goes over all the things we likely already knew about the Ioniq 5 from the journalists overseas, which have started releasing their full reviews on this vehicle. So make sure to go check some of those videos out as well. I'm sure Hyundai will host a press drive here in the United States over the next 2 to 3 months. I would love to get invited to that. So if anybody from Hyundai is watching this video, or you get in touch with somebody from Hyundai that can invite me to the Ioniq 5 press drive, I would greatly appreciate it. I am definitely an enthusiast, have been for several years, have owned a Hyundai Elantra GT line over the last several years and absolutely love that vehicle. But would love to experience the Ioniq 5 on the track side of things where it is meant to be showcased. So if you're watching, definitely would appreciate that. But anyways, as always, I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing here to the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video and or found something helpful, hit that like button below. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to stay tuned for additional content, not only on the Ioniq 5 later this year, but also other Hyundai and other manufacturer content. Maybe I'll make a review video on the Kona N behind me, who knows. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Ioniq 5 here coming for the 2025 model year down in the description below. Do you think it is a little bit too expensive? Is the price about where you expected it? Or is it cheaper than you guys are expecting? I don't think anybody I've talked to or asked about it quite yet has thought it was overly cheap. But it may end up turning out to be a very fair deal in the performance EV world, given what it has to offer. Of course, all of the standard and updated technology from Hyundai, and of course its track capabilities. So let me know your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching and hope to see you guys in the next one.